Welcome to part 2 of operators in C programming. So in the previous lecture, we saw what are the different types of operators in C programming and the operations that they perform on data. Now today we will be learning about two other topics, which is operator precedence and type conversion. Now what is operator precedence? Now operator precedence basically determines the order in which operators are evaluated in expressions with multiple operators. Let's say we have an expression which has multiple operators: addition, multiplication, division, subtraction. So in this case, which operation will be performed first, right? So let's take an example. Let's say 3 plus 5 into 2. Now in this case, will 3 be added to 5 first, or will 5 be multiplied by 2? Now, in order to understand this, let's go back to our school days. Okay, so in school we used to learn a simple rule, right? That multiplication comes before addition and subtraction, right? So in the same case, when it comes to programming, operators also take precedence over other operators. As we can uh, in this case, multiplication will take precedence over addition. So what will happen here is 5 will be multiplied by 2, which will give me 10, and the value will be added to 3, which will give me 13. This is called as operator precedence. Now, in order to summarize operator precedence, of which operators take precedence over other operators, we have a table here. Now, in this table, we have all the operators present along with the precedence, and the precedence decreases from top to bottom. Okay, so let us see the operator with the highest precedence. Now, in C programming or any other programming language, the operator with the highest precedence are parentheses, which means that anything inside brackets will be evaluated first. Similarly, structure pointers and dot operators take high precedence. Now, what is structure pointers and dot operators? We will see that when we will be learning about structures. Then the next in line comes our unary operators, which is increment operator, decrement operator. We also have the logical not operator and the bitwise not operator and the typecasting. Okay, so this is the precedence of unary operators. Then we have our multiplicative operators, that is multiplication, division, and modulus. After that, we have additive operators, that is addition and subtraction. Then we have the shift operators, the left shift and right shift. After that, we have the relational operators, that is lesser than, equal to, etc. Then we have the equality operators, equal to, not equal to. Then we have the bitwise and, or, XOR. Then we have the logical operators, logical and, logical or. And then we have the ternary or the conditional operator. And as we can see is that assignment operators take the least precedence in the table, followed by the comma operator. So this is the precedence of each and every operator in C programming. So this is how operations will be performed. Now what happens if we have two operators of the same type in a single expression? Let's say 3 into 2 into 5. Now in this case, will 3 be multiplied by 2 first, or will 2 be multiplied by 5? In order to determine this, we have something called as associativity. Now associativity is a property that determines the order of evaluation. In programming, the associativity is either from left to right or right to left. That is, the operations will either be performed left to right or from right to left. In case of multiplication and division, as we can see in the table, the associativity is from left to right. That is, 3 will be first multiplied by 2, which will give me 6, and that result will be multiplied by 5, which will give me 30. That is from left to right. In some cases, the associativity is from right to left, as in case of unary operators and also with assignment operators. In order to summarize this and understand this, let's take an example. So what I've done here is I have written a simple program. I've written a simple program that highlights what is associativity and operator precedence. Okay, so as we can see here, I am doing 3 plus 5 into 2. In this case, multiplication has highest precedence than addition. So 5 will be first multiplied by 2, which will give me 10, and that will be added to 3, which will give me an answer of 13. I have done the same calculation in the next example, but in this case, as you can see, 3 will first be added to 5. Now why so? Because of the parenthesis. Since parenthesis has the highest precedence, 3 will first be added to 5, which will give me 8, and that result will be multiplied by 2, which will give me 16. And in the third example, I've highlighted the law of associativity or the property of associativity. So in this case, I have used two parentheses to divide 10 by 2 and multiply 2 by 5. Now in this case, which parenthesis will be evaluated first? As the rule of associativity states that the parenthesis will be evaluated from left to right. So first what will happen here is uh, 10 will be first divided by 2, which will give me 5, and then 2 will be multiplied by 5, which will give me 10, and that two values will be added together, which will give me 15. So if we go ahead and compile this program, we get the value 13, 16, and 15. Okay, so this is all about precedence and associativity in C programming. Coming to the next topic, which is type conversion. Now, what is type conversion? Now, type conversion, in simple words, is basically the process of converting a variable from one data type to another data type. Okay, that is either converting an integer value to a float value to a double value, and so on. Now, there are two ways in which type conversion are performed: implicitly or explicitly, and this depends on the situation. Now, implicit type conversion, also known as automatic type conversion, is done by the compiler, where the compiler automatically converts one data type to another data type. So what actually happens here is, let's say we are adding two numbers. Okay, we are adding two numbers, that is 10 plus 4.5. In this case, we can see that 4.5 is a float value and 10 is a integer value. Okay, and let's say we want to store our result as float. Now what will happen here is, if I convert 4.5 into integer, this will get truncated and will be written as 4, which will give me the wrong answer, that will be 14. So the compiler will automatically convert the integer value to float value. Okay, the compiler will automatically convert the integer value into float value. Since 10 is an integer, it will convert the value 10 into 10.0, that is the float value of 0, and my result will be 14.5, which is the correct and more accurate answer. Okay, so how does the compiler do this? As we have seen, compiler will always go with the most accurate type. That is, it will promote the types to the most accurate type available in an expression. Since float is more accurate than an integer, my compiler will automatically convert 10 to float. This is called as implicit or automatic type conversion. Let us see this with the help of an example. Okay, let's take two values. Int a is equal to 5 and float b is equal to 4.5. Now let's add these two values. Result is equal to a plus b. Now what will the compiler do here? The compiler will automatically convert a into a floating point value. So the result will be %f for float and the result. Okay, let us see, we should get 9.5. Okay, so as you can see, I got 9.5. This is called as implicit type conversion. Now another way we can perform type conversion is the manual way, also called as explicit type conversion or typecasting. Now what happens here is, in typecasting, a programmer manually converts a variable into another type. Now why does a programmer do this and when does he do this? Basically, when we want to get more control over the conversion, we can use explicit type conversion or typecasting. Okay, and the syntax for this is very simple. Okay, let's say I want to divide a by b, and a and b both are integer values. So how should I convert them into decimal? It's very simple. I will use the float data type enclosed by brackets. This is known as typecasting. This is the type, and this is the value. So this will be typecasted to a floating point value. This is the syntax. So let us see this also with the help of a simple program. Int a equal to 5. Let's take two variables and b equal to 2. Now let's divide these two values. Okay, a divided by b. Now what happens here, if I print the result, my answer should be 2.5, right? But what will happen here is, since I have not typecasted, what will happen here is, basically, if I print the value, I will get the answer 2. Just a second. Yeah, just a small syntax error. Okay, I got the answer 2, which is the inaccurate answer or the incorrect answer. Okay, now why did this happen here is because both these data types are of integers. And here the compiler cannot perform automatic type conversion. In this case, the programmer has to manually do the type conversion or typecasting using the float type. And now compiling the same program and running it, we see we got the more accurate answer and the correct answer, which is 2.5. So this is how explicit type conversion is performed. Okay, so with this we have finished. We have covered operator precedence and type conversion in C programming. That's all for today. We will see you in the next video. Thank you.